This review video will focus on a lecture by Dr. Annalisa Bracco of the School of Earth and Atmospheric Sciences at Georgia Tech. Her lecture was entitled Plastic Pollution in the Ocean, Choose Your Toothpaste. This lecture was an overview of the consequences of the plastic mismanagement around the globe. Though plastic is a cheap and therefore widely used good, it can negatively affect sea plants and animals, as well as their surrounding ecosystems. To put things in perspective, 300 million tons of plastic are manufactured yearly. This manufacturing accounts for 8% of the world's petroleum use. Between 4.8 and 12.7 million tons of plastic debris enters the ocean each year. This plastic mostly collects at one of the 5 main gyres in the ocean. The reason there's so much plastic, let's remember that was 4.8 to 12.7 million tons enters the ocean each year, is partly because of the miserable recycling attempts by countries everywhere. In the United States, only 10% of plastics are recycled. That number fortunately jumps a bit to 26% in Europe, but China is the worst offender to plastic debris contribution, with nearly 5 billion pounds added to the ocean by China in 2010 alone. There are 2 types of plastic pollution in the ocean: coastal and open ocean. Coastal plastic pollution is pretty self-explanatory. It's on the coast. Open ocean plastic pollution is usually defined as plastic debris 500 or 600 miles off the coast. It is measured using a boat and essentially a net dragging along behind the boat. Many complain that this is a very inaccurate way to measure the open ocean pollution because it only measures the surface pollution. So, where does physics come in? Plastic pollution can be tracked using physics and knowledge of wind patterns. Wind is the driving force behind plastic moving across the ocean. Specifically, zonal wind patterns are used to calculate pollution movements. Physicists use the thermodynamic equation, continuity equation, horizontal momentum equation, and the vertical momentum equation to establish the STOMA model, which can help track plastic pollution. This model helps establish the ocean gyre circulation features. Despite the huge increase in plastic manufacturing and plastic entering our waters, plastic concentrations in the ocean have remained constant as far as we can tell. There are 4 possible theories as to why ocean concentrations for plastic have remained constant. First, shore deposition. Plastic is deposited at the shores at the same rate it's entering the ocean. The second theory is nanofragmentation. Bacteria has been breaking down and eating up all the excess plastic. The third theory is biofuel, which causes the plastic to sink to the bottom of the ocean where it can't be seen or measured. And finally, ingestion by plankton and fish, which clearly isn't very great for humans, nor the fish. Dr. Bracco finished her lecture by discussing microbeads. Microbeads, or microplastic particle abrasives, are cheap to produce plastics that don't break down easily. They're commonly used in toothpaste and scrubs as they're mild abrasives. Because of their very small size, they slip through sewage treatment plants and end up in waterways and oceans across the world. They are eaten by fish and animals, and through a process called biomagnification, these microbeads can reach deadly levels quickly. To prevent further harm to our aquatic friends, it's important to be a mindful consumer. Buy products that are microbead-free or use natural abrasives that will break down shortly after their use. 9 states have already banned the sale of microbeads, but we can't stop there. Become microbead-free today. Thank you!